Let me put up on the screen again the WikiLeaks revelation specific to the Clinton server. They knew. They knew from the beginning. Now, here's my theory. I think they used Huma and Anthony Wiener as an opportunity because the FBI, the Justice Department, the State Department, and the White House are scared to death because all of them colluded individually with the Clinton campaign and gave them all a heads up, and they all protected the president who was emailing on that very server and lied to the American people. True or false?
Looks that way. Looks that way.
Now, with reaction, the chief counsel for the American Center for Law and Justice, Jay Sekulow, Fox News contributor Doug Schoen, the host of Justice with Judge Janine Pirro. Judge, you got a lot to say on this.
Oh.
Why are you laughing?
Well, I'll tell you. I can't believe for 1 minute, Sean, that this is about something they found in the investigation of this pedophile, Huma Abedin's husband. I think it's deeper than this. I think there's more than this that's involved, because for Jim Comey to come out in 11 days before a presidential election and understand that
it's got to be big.
It's got to be big. Now, big in the sense that they could arrest her, they could indict her, they could send her to jail. They already had that. But the FBI has already destroyed evidence. They've given everyone immunity. They basically said, oh, forget about it. It's no big deal. They had her by the short hairs and they let her go.
The FBI,
so why now?
Well, why? Is it because of WikiLeaks? By the way, I misspoke. Gateway Pundit had reported via Russia Today, a reporter in London, that Julian Assange would release emails that could prove to get enough evidence to get her arrested. WikiLeaks is watching. Yep. They actually called and told us, no, that was from some time ago, and that's not true. So I apologize. Want to make sure we get everything right. Jay Sekulow, from the legal side, you and I have discussed at length, in detail, the crimes that we know were committed here.
Yep.
We were both shocked at what James Comey did. Why is he reopening it? Is it in part because of WikiLeaks? And are they not telling us, are they using the Huma Wiener emails to obfuscate what is an opportunity? They've been shown up by WikiLeaks in a lot of ways and probably fear that they may be embarrassed further.
Well, I said from the beginning that the investigation by the FBI and the Hillary Clinton email scandal was a faux investigation, a fake investigation. Obviously, that's the case, because whether it's WikiLeaks, which it well could be, or whether it's information from Huma Abedin, ask yourself this question. How did the FBI not ask for and demand Huma Abedin's personal email accounts as well as her
devices? How did they agree to destroy
this
evidence of other people? How did they? Who destroys evidence in a case?
By the way, that's called obstruction of justice if anybody else did it. Sean, here's what needs to happen. Tonight, a grand jury needs to be impaneled, number one. Number two, a special prosecutor needs to be appointed immediately. Number three, James Comey, Loretta Lynch, and Deputy of the Director of the FBI, McCabe, need to not be involved in this process. I mean, a lot of people are praising James Comey because he opened it up. Let's cut the nonsense. This whole thing is ridiculous. And I'll tell you something, and you know this, Sean, I've been critical of where I thought Donald Trump was off point and off message, but this goes beyond the politics. Doug will address that. This goes to the heart of our constitutional republic, and you don't do this in the United States of America. So if they reopened it, whether it's WikiLeaks, whether it's Huma Abedin, it has to be really significant. And I think 11 days out, even though the FBI director is saying we're just looking at it, for them to do this, it has to be big.
Doug?
Period.
Look, Hillary's going to be elected. She's been under criminal investigation by the FBI for the bulk of the campaign, and, you know, she's had a steady lead. It's 11 days out.
And she, she may get elected.
Yeah.
But if crimes are committed, maybe before she gets into office, she's going to be indicted. Maybe while she's in office, she's going to be indicted. What, does Barack Hussein Obama give her a pardon as he leaves office?
He can.
He could, that's right. Could she give herself a pardon?
All of that could happen, but right now,
really?
About the politics.
Is that what you want? Is that what you want for your country?
I want her elected.
Is that what, is she, wait a minute.
Don't waste your time. She's not going to get elected.
Yes, she is.
It's the independents right now who are going to say, I have Clinton fatigue. I am so sick and tired of all of these scandals with the Clintons. Wherever they go, there's dirt. They are a cesspool of corruptibles. Everybody around them is committing crimes.
Let me point to some basic things. Let me ask you this. Trey Gowdy got James Comey to admit crimes. before his committee. But now, wait a minute.
But it didn't affect the
Then we've
polls,
got collusion,
Sean.
WikiLeaks revealed, between the campaign of Hillary, the Justice Department, the State Department, and the White House.
That's why I say there's
And the
more
president
to this,
lied,
Sean.
too.
There is more to this. The FBI,
It's not gonna
somebody
come out
in
in 11
Washington
days.
is saying, you know what?
But
You
let me
don't
tell
do
you,
this.
Doug,
We're
you know
going to
what?
revolt. This is a case that
There's a
demands a
precipice of a
grand jury,
constitutional
a
crisis here.
subpoena,
We're not going to get a
a
grand
search
jury.
warrant.
We're not going to get a special
Absolutely.
prosecutor.
Jay?
We're not.
Yeah, I think we're on the precipice of a constitutional crisis if a grand jury is not impaneled and this is not handled correctly within our judicial system. We are at a
I agree with
precipice
you.
of a constitutional crisis.
What did you think, Jay, of Comey? Remember, we watched Comey 13 of the 15 minutes. I'm saying, oh my, he's going to pull the trigger. He's going to go forward with a recommendation to the Justice Department to indict her. He pulls back at the end. Then he gets nailed by Trey Gowdy in committee, and Trey Gowdy gets him to admit, yeah, she committed a number of crimes and lied a number of times. Now we find out even more about all of this. And then we got Terry McAuliffe, gets money from Hillary, raises for a PAC, gives to the guy that's in charge with the investigation. This is not a banana republic, Jay. We are a constitutional republic.
Right.
The rule of law should matter. There shouldn't be two sets of law for everybody watching this show and Hillary Clinton.
Right.
And that's what it seems to be.
So Ben Franklin famously said, it's a constitutional republic, madam, if you can keep it, when he was asked what kind of government we have. The question that I think the American public is asking themselves tonight is, are we going to be a constitutional republic? Because at the end of the day, Sean, what James Comey did today by reopening it, which some on the right are praising as a great thing.
Did he do it to
should have never
save
been
his
the
own
situation
ass and
that-
reputation?
Sean,
That's what I
of
want to
course.
know.
We need
Right,
full
he did.
course.
This isn't
Of
about
course.
this
We
isn't
need
about
full
Jim
disclosure.
Comey standing
Yes,
up
it-
and saying, I am here as a champion of justice.
Wait, is it,
absolutely
This
right.
is about him
Is it
saving his
because
own ass.
WikiLeaks was going to expose the fraud?
He has to
That
explain.
and
You
the
got it.
FBI.
He owes it to us to explain why
And
he
the
did what
FBI's
he
got the
did.
Why
information,
not have
too.
a special
He's not
prosecutor? Would you be
explaining
against that?
I would be against it now until
Why?
he explains what he's doing.
He can't. He's in the middle
can't.
of
He's
his
in the middle
criminal
of it. He's got
investigation.
He does have
right.
to.
He's
It's
got to get
simple.
out of it.
Maybe a
Impanel
special
grand jury.
prosecutor
So
to
does
look at the
Loretta Lynch.
FBI.
And Bill Clinton needs to stop getting on. What?
No, a special prosecutor
Impanel
to look
a
at the
grand
behavior of the
jury.
FBI.
Oh, good
It's
grief.
outrageous.
And the reality is that the first FBI investigation was a sham. You don't interview somebody on a Saturday and put out a complete report on a Tuesday unless the report was written before you interviewed her.
Mr. Mayor, let me ask you very specific as we keep those laws up there. 18 U.S.C. 1924, unauthorized removal and retention of classified documents.
she did it.
Comey admits she did it.
She did it.
That's a crime.
Absolutely.
Okay, gathering, transmitting, or losing information, defense information. That's 18 U.S.C. 793.
Did that too.
Okay, by the way, imprisonment 10 years and or $250,000 fine. Concealment, removal, mutilation generally, 18 U.S.C.
Mutilation?
2071. Yeah, that would be-
Mutilation,
yeah,
bleach,
hammer. Bleach, hammer,
mutilation.
acid.
That's mutilation.
Okay.
Right.
Destruction, alteration, falsification of records in federal investigations.
Yeah. Well, she did that too.
She only used one.
13.
She did this for convenience, but she had, I thought it was 14. Are you sure? I thought it was 14.
well,
My
maybe it's-
recollection's 14.
Well, I remember 13. Let's say 14.
But they busted it with a hammer.
But
they took
Sean,
acid to wash
how
this
can they
claim.
all be missing? They're all missing. They're all gone.
What
It's
about
hard to
this?
get rid of 14 or 13 cell phones.
I have a friend of mine who's a special agent in the FBI. I had a long conversation with him. He said every fellow agent is disgusted with the way James Comey has handled this. And here's what we also have discovered, that the guy, Andrew McCabe, who was promoted FBI deputy director, who supervised this particular investigation, that Governor Terry McAuliffe, one of the closest allies of the
Yeah,
Clintons,
also the guy who was selling the Lincoln bedroom.
right, that's the guy.
You know, a decade and a half ago.
Through his PAC Common Good, which Hillary raised money for, contributed, this is, again, a total now of up to $675,000 to her long-shot congressional bid. Most congressional bids don't spend $675,000. That's just one donation. And how could he possibly investigate with a conflict of interest like that?
Well, I get two stories out of the FBI, okay? One story is this came from the Wiener sex tapes, and it's about Huma Abedin, and did she send classified information to Wiener? If she did, by the way, that would be a clear-out crime Let's see if she gets prosecuted.
Let me put up on the screen as you talk, by the way. You have identified on this program 16, if I'm not mistaken.
I took that about a year ago.
Yeah, this is what we've been showing you. These are the very specific things that you said back in the day ought to be investigated. These are real felonies, real crime. People have really gone to jail for all of these statutes.
Yeah, well, I mean, the reality is that the report that Comey gave to us before he came to the conclusion that she shouldn't be prosecuted was a report that any prosecutor would have taken before a grand jury, probably gotten an indictment, and the evidence of intent is overwhelming. The best evidence of intent are two things: false exculpatory statements. Well, she made at least a dozen of those, and you just showed them. The second best evidence of intent is destruction of evidence. Well, they were destroying evidence all over the place.
That's the intent to commit a crime.
Well,
Leach bid is intent to commit a crime.
That's how I proved intent in the hundreds of cases that I prosecuted.